Yes, it's the BBC. When they're not having meetings with the government about how to silence people with a different opinion, the BBC is pushing the cult agenda in the most obvious way to anyone that is paying attention. So I've got a couple of stories here that's led to Clown of the Week, being the BBC. BBC faces backlash as trans character in Casualty enthuses about double mastectomy. Well, you would, wouldn't you? I mean, it's such a great thing. Campaigners against the normalization of self-mutilating surgery have said a scene in Casualty broadcast before the watershed, that's 9 o'clock. It's supposed to be a watershed so children won't see it. Was a new low and questioned whether the BBC is taking its safeguarding responsibilities seriously. Well, of course it's not. It's taking its cult agenda promotion seriously. The BBC has been criticized over an episode of Casualty which shows a non-binary character discussing top surgery. Well, I read a story the other week about trans, and it talked about bottom surgery, and I'm thinking, why do they always have their bums done? What's going on? But that doesn't what it's not what it means. You get what it means, and that the penny dropped when I saw top surgery. Anyway, what the BBC do, and they're not alone, but particularly them, is when they're doing like a drama like Casualty in a hospital, or EastEnders, there's a kind of soap in the East End of London. What they do is they drop in the storyline things to, manipulate the perceptions of the population. So during COVID, you had the blatant ridicule of anyone challenging the vaccine and the promotion of people who were sensible and intelligent who were having it. It's happening all the time. And this is the BBC, in another story this week, accused of trying to indoctrinate kids after CBeebies program says fish can swap genders. CBeebies, its channel aimed at under sevens, broadcast a segment about how some species can go from being a boy fish to a girl fish. The claim has provoked anger among campaigners who fear it was intended to normalize the controversial ideology at an early age. Of course it was. And in any case, inaccurate given that fish do not have a gender identity. No, but they can change gender if you put the right chemicals in the water, in the rivers. We've seen that. Now, how much is the chemical infusion into humans in many and various ways, impacting on the perception of gender, as well as all the propaganda. So the Safe Schools Alliance, which is campaigning against inappropriate sex education lessons, said CBeebies indoctrinating toddlers into the ideological concept of changing from a boy to a girl. So this was the clip they're talking about.
Oh, would you like to learn something very cool about fish? You would? Well, listen to this. Some fish can change from being a boy fish to a girl fish, or from being a girl fish to a boy fish. Let's look at the clownfish. Oh, aren't they beautiful? They live in a big group, and their leader is always a female fish. But if the group needs a new leader, the male fish can change into a female fish in order to become the leader.
You know, as I've said so often over the years, the foundation of this whole conspiracy, human control, is control of perception. What we perceive becomes how we behave. Control perception, control behavior. And what they're doing is just targeting now, from the youngest age, kids to program their perception, thus behavior, for the rest of their lives on a scale we've never seen before. And the BBC is really at the forefront of it in the UK. So I'm going to be back. I think I said at the start of the show, I'm going to be back on July the 3rd, but I could never read a diary. It's July the 7th that I'll be back with the Dot Connector. And as I said at the start, I've got a new series on Ickonic. It's going to start on June the 13th. It's called Remember Who You Are. So watch for that. And I'll see you back here on, what was it again? July the 7th. See you then. Bye.